The historic Formula Ford cars are heading to the grid for the 14th round of the 2016 season, the penultimate round of the championship. Callum Grant and Rob Wainwright are separated by 25 points heading into this race, so if Grant can beat Wainwright in this race, he will win the championship. The grid, well, Grant's on pole position, so he's making a good start for sure. With Sam Mitchell alongside returning this weekend, we've got Mark Shaw and David Wild on row 2. Ben Sims and Ben Tilley will start on row 3. Ed Thurston will start alongside Rob Wainwright. Wainwright then starting in 8th position. Autosport's Ben Anderson will start 9th ahead of James Button, and Richard Tarlin, making his debut in the series this weekend, is alongside Ross Drybrough. And then the following 24 cars are made up from the heat we had earlier on. Of course, it was Simon Toyin who came through from the back of the grid in that earlier heat to win it, and that means he can start 13th. So it's a capacity grid on the Silverstone National Circuit. We have 36 cars, like one's going to go off from the pit lane. What a great start though, with 35 cars sit on the grid. The red lights go out and the historic Formula Ford round 14 is underway. It's a damp inside line, that means not the great start from Sam Mitchell. Callum Grant will lead. Richard Tarling's already picked up a few and he's going round the outside into Copse Corner to see if he can gain any more positions. He's racing the Chris Helliwell Jamin, but Ben Sims raced at Castle Coo. Tarling already gained a mass of positions. Ben Sims just passes Sam Mitchell. Mark Shaw already through, so Shaw is second. Third is Sims from 5th on the grid. Down to 4th is the front row man Sam Mitchell, who really lost out there on the damper inside line. It was a pretty wet race earlier on for the heat. It's pretty slippery now though, it's certainly not dry. Good bit of moisture left in the track, and Callum Grant has got a big lead in second position. It's side by side as Sims goes down the inside of Mark Shaw to gain a place. We've got Richard Tarley and Ben Tilley, they were side by side too, heading into Brooklands. There's a whole host of Formula Ford cars jostling for position heading into the left-hander. Out of Luffield they turn. It's huge grid, it's hard to know where to look, there's so much dicing going on. Looks like everybody's made their way through this first lap safely, and Tilley is re-challenged by Richard Tarling. They've had a good battle it seems on this opening lap, and Tarling in the Jamin going ahead of Tilley in the Merlin. Then Tilley had a great couple of second positions last time out of Brands Hatch, and he's going back past Tarling, so Tarling only ahead of him for a corner there. And back into Beckett's, it's Tilley back in front of the former Formula Palmer Audi champion. There's Grant, he's got a huge lead, hasn't he, over Ben Sims, who's second. The battle's on for third as Sam Mitchell passes Mark Shaw. It's side by side behind as well. That's Ed Thurston, who's getting the better of David Wild. Thurston going well, his only third ever car race meeting. He's in the Eldon ahead of Wild, who's in the Lowland. Got Ben Tilley and Richard Tarling behind, and we've got a spinner. That's Nick Pansisi, who just gets ever so lightly collected by Stuart Baird. They both should get back going, but they're falling way down the order. Andrew Wiggins there having to squeeze his car through the middle of the two spinners. He managed to do that. And now it's free wide as Chris Sharples comes round the outside. Does he just about finds enough room to get past Stuart Baird, and it was Mike Wales who was on the inside there. A bit further back, James Lovett. He is racing side by side with Martin Haynes. They make their way onto the start and finish straight. And down towards Copse Corner, and they all battle for position once more. Richard Tarley, we can go on board with again as he's really late on the brakes into Beckett to go back ahead of Ben Tilley. They're having a great battle then. Tarling, who had been out of racing for a long time, came back for one historic Formula Ford race last year. He won that in a different car and is going well again here at Silverstone. There's Sims, he's second. Sam Mitchell's chasing. Mark Shaw next up, he got first, and now Tarling down the inside of David Wild to gain a position. That's 6th place now from Tarling. He started on row 6, so he's gained 5 positions. We've got Wainwright there in the Eldon. It's not going too well for him. The championship is falling out of his hands, it seems. Alistair Littlewood trying to come around the outside of Cormac Flanagan, who had a great heat earlier on in that Alexis. And they will run side by side down to Woodcote. Ben Tilley we can ride on board with, it side by side up ahead of us. David Wild repasses Tarling but goes out wide, he's off the circuit. So both Tarling and Tilley go ahead. There's Lee Penson in the Lotus 51 trying to pass the Cooper Chinook of Stuart Dix. Back on board with Tarling, and that's Mark Shaw up ahead of us, and ahead of him is Ed Thurston. So Thurston's got ahead of Shaw, I think, on this lap. And Tarling's very quickly caught them, hasn't he? From where he was at Copse Corner. Down the straight, he seems to be losing a bit of time there, Tarling, but Thurston under pressure as Shaw comes back down the inside. Meanwhile, about of a second, you see Sam Mitchell right onto the tail of the Jomo of Ben Sims, who we ride on board with. The Mitchell's caught him up well in the last few laps, and now he's going around the outside at Woodcote, and that should give him second. Simon Choi in there, he's travelling slowly. There's some smoke coming out the back of his car too. Ed Thurston and Richard Tarling are side by side. Mark Shaw involved in that as well, almost free wide as they turn in. Mark Shaw backed out of it, except Tarling, who's gone up to 4th position, gaining 2 positions there. Thurston slow on the exit, so Mark Shaw repasses him. Ben Tilley's trying to get involved in all of this as well. Looks to the outside of Thurston, had to back out of that, not to connect wheels with him. Around the outside of both of them goes Rob Wainwright. He tries to pick off some places, but he runs out of grip. Thurston's back through, and Tilley's going to go past as well, I think. They run side by side down the Wellington Straight, but I think it's Tilley back ahead, or is Wainwright going to hold on the inside? Yes, the Eldon driver goes back through. We saw at Brands Hatch how late on the brakes Wainwright could be. Oh, Sam Mitchell spins out of 2nd position. See, there was some fluid down on the circuit, and he spun. I think he stalled the car as well, and look at all the positions he's going to lose. The pass goes that big gaggle. We've been watching. Looks like there was another car spun there. That must have been one of the back markers. Simon Toy, you can see slow too. We saw him with a smoke coming out the back of his Lola earlier on, so he looks like he's going to retirement. Behind him though, Alistair Littlewood and Matt Wrigley are dicing hard. Good battle there. And further back it's free wide here. Alex Meek and Peter Hannum have Chris Sharples go right around the outside of both of them. A great move there from the former HSCC chairman Chris Sharples, and he's pulling away already. Into the pits comes Simon trying to spin now. That's Stuart Baird. That's a second moment he's had at Brooklands. There's Fraser Collins trying to come around the outside of Nigel Adams. Plenty of battle in this race. Sam Mitchell turning his way through Beckett's after that spin. He's getting onto terms with Ben Anderson. And off, who's that? That's Mark Shaw's gone straight on at Brooklands. Not found any grip down there. Rob Wainwright and Ben Tilley, they continue their battle with David Wilde behind them. Now Sam Mitchell's challenging Ben Anderson. He can't find a way through there on the inside of the Autosport F1 editor. Having his first outing in historic Formula Ford this weekend in the classic Team Merlin run car. Ben Anderson, though, a multiple race winner in the 750 Motor Club Formula V Championship.
Started at the back of the grid in the earlier race.
Got Kevin Stansel there looking to the outside of Cormac Flanagan. There's Alistair Littlewood in 72. Sam Mitchell still trying to find a way past Ben Anderson here. Then he's got a better run through Copse Corner. He's carried much more speed through there, and he's going to go past. Andrew Wiggins here looking to the outside of Stuart Dix. You've got Alex Meek involved in that as well. So side by side run Dix and Wiggins. Almost coming interlocking wheels there. They run in so close together. And Ben Tilley. Ben Tilley's pulled off at Beckett. It's a problem there then for the 17-year-old Ben Tilley. He's out of the race. There's Tarling. He's third. In traffic is Ed Thurston. He laps the car of Julian Pearce. He's followed through by Rob Wainwright and David Wilde. The fifth there is Rob Wainwright. He's made up positions from his grid, but with Callum Grant making such a good start and pulling away massively right from the get-go, it looks like Wainwright's not going to win the championship. But we've seen problems for Callum Grant when he's been out fronted before. Twice at Oulton Park he had brake issues while leading. So the race isn't over yet. There's 20, that's Kevin Stansel in his Merlin. Makes his way up towards Woodcote. Further back you've got Andrew Wiggins, Alex Meek, Stuart Dix, Nick Pansisi and Peter Hannum. A 5-car battle here. Some really good batting all the way through the order, as we seem to get in almost every race. They exit Laffield in this 5-car tussle. Here's Callum Grant, he's the race leader, championship leader. If it stays as it is, he will win a championship. He's got more traffic to deal with though. That's Nigel Adams. He's trying to find a way past. See that Callum Grant intently checking his mirrors to see where his rivals are. He hasn't seen much of them, has he? Only in his mirrors he would have been able to see the rest of the competitors. Until now he's into traffic. Track being pretty slippery, it's difficult out there. The fluid down there at Brooklands and Luffield as well. It's going to be a busy second part of the race here for Grant. It's Stuart Baird, he's about to lap now, heading into Woodcote. And there is his championship rival. It's been a great season of battling between him and Rob Wainwright. Behind Wainwright 57, that's David Wild in one of the Neil Fowler Motorsport cars. They head up towards Woodcote. Who we got here? 56, that's Roland Svensson ahead of Cormac Flanagan. They were running towards the front of the heat earlier on. Kevin Stanzel, then you've got Matt Wrigley as well in this battle. They exit Luffield and head off to lap the car of Julian Pearce. Just behind your Andrew Wiggins. He's continuing to lead this battle just about, but trying to come up alongside him there is Alex Meek out of the Luffield corner. Some more side-by-side action further behind too. That looked like James Buckton, who's obviously recovering from an incident earlier on. There's Wainwright and Wild. They continue their dice up through Woodcote. And Flanagan ahead of Wrigley. You've got Stanzel. And Roland Svensson's dropped back, hasn't he? And now Alistair Littlewood's also going to pass him round the outside at Luffield. They run side by side. Callum Grant really finding the traffic now as he heads down into Brooklands. That's Mike Wales up ahead. He's just lapped James Lovett and Louis Handel. Look, Ben Sims isn't far behind Grant now. That was a 3-second gap earlier on. It doesn't look like that to me now, but of course the traffic is really going to fluctuate the gap between the two of them. You can see now Sims is losing out of Luffield in the Jomo. There's Richard Tarling. He's in third. He has had a great race. Ross Driver out of Copse Corner. He's caught this gaggle of cars. He's up fast them out of Copse. He's just passed Alistair Littlewood. He's trying to also get the better of Roland Svensson. He can't do that though into Beckett. But he's made good inroads on this battle. He was quite a way behind him earlier on. Ben Sims there. He's lapped James Lovett now. Down towards Copse Corner he goes. See Louis Handel there trying to come past Lovett, and he does it. Further back, Matt Wrigley and Cormac Flanagan. They dice ahead of Kevin Stanzel, just putting a gap to Stanzel now. And there is 56, Roland Svensson, ahead of Ross Driver, who were riding on board just a moment ago as he passed Alistair Littlewood. Out of Luffield there. Now Tarling into traffic himself. Zigzagging his way past the slower cars there. Look at the speed he carried through Beckett's to lap Mike Wales. A great bit of traffic management there by Tarling. Driver, you really see he carries the speed fantastically well through Copse Corner compared to his rivals. He's just now past Roland Svensson. No, he hasn't. Svensson's later on the brakes into Beckett's. Then Driver carried almost too much more speed in comparison into the apex of the corner. 43, Callum Grant turns his way into Luffield. There's Ben Sims, he's trying to keep him on his toes there. Fourth place, Ned Thurston. He's into traffic. Having a fantastic race. He's only competed at Crofton Oulton Park before this weekend. There's Rob Wainwright, he just lapped Fraser Collins. He's now pulling away from David Wild, and Sam Mitchell is catching both of them. So Mitchell with the number 40 car, he's only done a handful of races this season. He's won at Oulton Park, he was on the podium as well. And there is the two Classic Team Merlin cars together now as Mark Shaw has closed back in on Ben Anderson. And then this dice that we've been watching, there's Svensson ahead of Stanzel now, so that's a change. Kevin Stanzel has lost out there to Roland Svensson since we last saw him. Look at Peter Hannum now going side by side with Nick Pansisi. They're both behind Andrew Wiggins at the moment. Down towards Copse Corner though for Ross Driver. big twitch there for Svensson. He's going off, and Kevin Stanzel running out wide too. So there's Svensson losing out to Dryborough. What about Stanzel? I think the two drivers are running side by side heading down to Beckett's. And Stanzel on the outside, over the curbs for Dryborough. He's run out a bit wide there, but he's through. He's got ahead of Stanzel. Sam Mitchell now, he can ride on board with. He's catching David Wild, and they're into traffic. This is going to get busy. Wild slides out wide just behind his teammate. Now they've got a lap. James Lovett. They go around the outside of him into Luffield. This is where Mitchell spun out of second position. His lap times have been phenomenal. Pretty much a second faster than anybody else in this race, including Callum Grant, the race leader. So a great recovery drive from Mitchell. He now goes past David Wild. Kevin Stanzel tries to re-challenge Ross Dryborough. You got Roland Svensson in there as well. Dryborough holds on to it. Stanzel behind. Then you've got Svensson, as I said. Oh, big twitch for Kevin Stanzel there. So much action. This is fantastic racing in pretty tricky conditions too. There's Peter Hannum there going down the inside of Stuart Dix. There's Ben Sims. He's in second. Oh, and Richard Tarling's catching him, but he's outbraked himself into Brooklyn. He's gone way off the circuit. He's going to rejoin in the J-Man, but he's lost out a lot of time there. He was catching Sims, it seems, and now he's down to fourth because Ed Thurston's got the better of him. So Thurston into third. Looks like he's going to have his first podium in car racing if he can hold off Tarling. There's Sam Mitchell chasing Rob Wainwright. Here are the two Speed Sport run cars, the classic Team Merlin machines. And now it's Shaw ahead of Anderson. Next up, this is Cormac Flanagan and Matt Wrigley. They continue their battle, and they've got Ross Dryborough next up with Kevin Stanzel, Roland Svensson, James Buckton now closing on that battle. Sam Mitchell chasing Rob Wainwright through Cops Corner. We're on to the final lap now, I think. The 15 minutes will be elapsed by the time they cross the line next time by, and Mitchell's getting closer and closer to Rob Wainwright. But into Brooklands for the final time amongst a heap of traffic is Callum Grant. He has won more than half of the races this season. He's going to add another one to it. He will deservedly be now the 2016, now a multiple historic Formula 4 champion. It is Callum Grant. A huge family atmosphere in his team, in the Nigel Grant Motorsport team. And well done to Callum Grant. But the battles continue behind it. Rob Wainwright gets caught up in the traffic. Him and Sam Mitchell are side by side now heading into Luffield. Wainwright dives to the inside of the back marker, and that's Martin Hines. Sam Mitchell follows him through. This is, I think, it's the battle for fifth place. They're not far behind Richard Tarling even now. Mitchell's got a very good run out of Luffield. He comes up alongside Rob Wainwright as they turn through Woodcote Corner. They're going to be side by side as they cross the line, but I think Mitchell has got it. He's got ahead of Wainwright there.
Richard Tarling having had a little
Cormac Flanagan ahead of Matt Wrigley as they turn into Luffield. Ross Dryborough's catching them. As they turn out the corner now, it's going to be Cormac Flanagan who wins this battle, I think. There's James Buckton trying to gain a place before the end. But as I mentioned, the 2016 champion is Callum Grant. And he is delighted with that, isn't he? He won at Castle Combe. He didn't go to Silverstone on the Grand Prix circuit earlier on this season. He won at Snetterton though. He won at Cadwell Park. He won on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. He didn't win at Alton Park because of those brake issues, but he also won at Brands Hatch last time out, and now Silverstone. So he's pretty much won almost every race weekend this year. He beat Ben Sims in this race by 3 seconds. Ed Thurston took third. Richard Tarling, I think with brake issues at the end, dropped to fourth. Sam Mitchell did beat Rob Wainwright. David Wild took seventh, head of teammates Mark Shaw and Ben Anderson, two classic Team Merlin cars, and Cormac Flanagan completed the top 10. The top 12 automatically go through to the championship final, the final round of the season. The rest of the drivers will be put into a second heat, so Kevin Stanzel will start on pole position for that heat later on today. Four historic Formula 4 races this week, yesterday actually, at Silverstone. A very busy day for the competitors. A great race we've already seen today. 2 more races to come later on. But here is your champion of the year, the 2016 historic Formula 4 champion, Callum Grant.